Welcome back, Camden Catholic. Going to pick right up today where we left off with the aftermath, the Treaty of Versailles. So Austria-Hungary was broken up into a bunch of small countries. The Treaty of Versailles blamed Germany for the war, forced Germany to pay reparations that equals the cost of $2.7 trillion. So real quick fact, actually Germany just got done paying that debt off in 2011. That's almost 100 years worth of debt. So it also stripped land away from Germany in the Poland area, and then broke them up into a bit of a smaller area. And then also it created the League of Nations. Now, the League of Nations was the one part that Woodrow really wanted to hold on to. However, he didn't like how it was set up. And also, Germany wasn't allowed to be in it, and so we refused to join it. So, the League of Nations was created, which was a co-op of 40 nations, made to negotiate disputes to avoid another war. However, it is unfortunately going to help lead to war later on. So it is very, very ineffective. Next to that, it said made to negotiate, but very ineffective. All right? So America refused to be involved in the treaty, in the new league, and did not sign the Treaty of Versailles. And that right there is a political cartoon about how the dog of war is just being held back by a very small muzzle called the League of Nations. Now, eventually, he is going to bust through this thing, right? So, we're going to go ahead and pick up now with the Communist Revolution in Russia. So, I know that was quick, but we got to keep moving, okay? So, anyway, here we go. Now, we stopped. There we go. We didn't really talk about the Communist Revolution in Russia yet, but now we're about to go very, very in-depth with it, all right? So, first and foremost, in your notes, draw this picture. Yeah. All right, so that is the symbol of communism, all right? So it has two parts, all right? Its parts are the sickle, the curvature blade right here that you can see, which is used for threshing wheat, and then right here is a hammer. Now, these two parts individually represent industrial workers and also agricultural farmers, all right? Farmers and workers. Now, these two groups, historically, where are they located on the totem pole of society? Good job, Tara. At the very, very bottom, right? So, the idea behind communism is the idea that you have to actually take the social class system and feudalism and then turn it completely upside down, all right? So, the serfs would now actually be the elect at the top. So, now we're going to talk about causes of the Russian Revolution. So, anyway, first of all, there's going to be a massive end to Tsarism. Just so you know, a Tsar, spelled T-S-A-R or C-Z-A-R, is a Russian leader or a Russian king, okay? So, now, remember, Tsars are Russian kings. Write this down real quick. From 1400 to 1917... From 1400, World War I. So anyway, now, from 1400 to 1917, Russia was under the control of absolute rulers. Bye, Callie. So, was under the control of absolute rulers. So, now, as we know, what was the main problem with absolutism? Good job, Danielle. It led to a lot of revolutions, right? When you give one person too much power, it's going to lead to a revolution. Now, here's the even worse part. From 1615 to 1917, the absolute rulers all came from one family. That family's name was the Romanovs, all right? There we go. A little more comfortable now. So anyway, so the Romanov family led Russia for over 300 years. Now, it's a huge problem because what Enlightenment thinker would be a fan of this style? Whoa. Good job, John Marino and Tommy. I heard you guys. Thomas Hobbes, right? Whereas John Locke would come in and defer the fact that we need our natural rights and things like that. So, let's keep moving, though. That right there, this young guy right here, is the last Tsar of Russia, okay? So, his name is unfortunately not coming up. There we go. His name is Nicholas II. All right, Nicholas II, or Nicholas Romanov, or Nicholas II, is in charge from 1896 to 1917. Now, he is weak, he is ineffective, and he relies on his secret police to do all of his dirty work for him. All right. He does not understand the worries of the common people. He does not understand the problems that the Industrial Revolution has brought to Russia. He doesn't understand any of that because he is a part of the wealthy percentage of Russians. He lives in the Winter Palace. He does not understand what it is like to be poor. The workers want Nicholas overthrown. All right? So in 1905, they're going to have a very small, ineffective, unorganized revolution. Unorganized, very important. They felt very mistreated and that he didn't care for their needs. The funny part about it is looking at the American model, there are a few very simple things he could have done to end that revolution and also to fix the problems that existed in Russia. He could have very easily mandated a minimum wage, restricted working hours. He could have, which was happening in the United States. It was happening in the United States while all this was going on, and he couldn't just follow suit, right? So, but anyway, before I get ahead of myself. So anyway, limited working hours, minimum wage, public schools, social welfare programs. The Kaiser of Germany was doing social welfare programs by 1890, and he decides that he can't do it 15 years later. So as you can see, he is not in touch with the people. This leads to a lot of massive, massive problems. So now, the 1905 revolution is going to follow. Due to the problems following the release of serfs in 1861. Whoa! Whoa! Calm down, bears. Calm down. I know. The fact that they didn't release serfs until 1861 is absolute insanity. Feudalism has been dead in Europe virtually for almost 100 years. Going on 100 years. The feudalism in France ended on the night of August the 4th in 1791 during the French Revolution, right? The Russian economy was failing. So, when the serfs were released in 1861, very late in the game, the Industrial Revolution created a huge working class. So these serfs are going to move from the farms and under contracts under the land, and they're going to go straight into the factories. Now, the problem is that these disenfranchised people have never known how to fight for their working rights, okay? So they are very unorganized, and all they are is very upset because they're not making a living wage, they're going hungry, and they're not being treated fairly. So the Russian government also was busy doing this other really jacked up thing called the Russification program. They were purging out Jews, Armenians, Poles. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, Otrimsky. I know. I apologize, but it's true. They were purging all of these people out. Now, Laura, due to the problems with cultural diffusion, you can't just eliminate whole races of people from your country. Why? Great job. Because some of these groups have probably intermarried and intermingled with other Russians. You're removing people's families. You can't do that, okay? So, now the Russification was trying to make the country's primary and only culture Russian. Now this sounds a lot like the movement that was going on through Europe. The Pan-Slav movement had a lot to do with this, even though, ironically enough, Poles are a type of Slavic people. We're not going to get into the arguments of why this is hypocritical, but you understand what I'm saying. Due to Romantic nationalism, they wanted to try and Russify the entire country. It's not really going to work out well for them because other people are going to lead to distrusting them even more. So, this is going to be a massive event that actually kind of defines what happened with the 1905 revolution. It's called Bloody Sunday. 150,000 protesters assembled out front of the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, non-violently protesting, refusing to leave until their demands are met. What is the worst thing you could do? What's the worst thing you could do as a leader on this protest? Good job, Andy Miles. Nicholas's royal guards opened fire, killing 200 commoners, 200 regular people, 200 protesters for no reason. This included women and children. Right now, the people of Russia, the bulk of Russians, probably over 70% of them, that's just a guess, hate and distrust the Romanov family. So, last but not least, the worst thing that happened is one another bad part that followed up. The only way in this era as well today, that you can actually get people to get back on board with a country when nationalism goes to an all-time high is when you use that patriotism and you win a war. So Russia decides to go and fight Japan. How stupid can you be, all right? Russia's primary reason for fighting Japan was over trade ports. Now, that's what they said anyway, okay? Because Russia, due to the fact that Siberia is over in the east, has no major trade ports on the Asiatic side. So, they went after Japan. Now, in their mind, they're thinking, Japan only industrialized like 5 minutes ago. It's not like they're going to be hard to beat. They don't even have the samurai anymore. Okay, number one, you're idiots because you're going after an island expecting they don't have a navy. All right, so number two, you're going after people that just industrialized thinking that they're going to be easy to beat, but they do have guns just like you, and you're fighting them on their home turf. And third of all, yes, the samurais were outlawed ever since the civil wars in the late 1800s. But it's not like they were all dead. Where do you think they went? They joined the military. It's the only thing they knew. Japan, not even like little bit humiliated them, but absolutely obliterated Russia, humiliated them in this war. Nicholas thought that winning this easy war would bring about national pride and help stop a rebellion, but Russia lost. This is like going into a game knowing you're going to win and then losing. It just totally demoralizes your sensibilities. Right now, the Russian soldiers are furious with him. The poor are furious with him. Everybody is mad at the Romanov family. And this is setting the stage for a massive event in history. So, make sure you have all this stuff down. We're going to work with it a little bit more tomorrow. We're going to keep kicking forward. I'm going to tell you the best story in history, the Rasputin story. But I'll see y'all then. Have a great evening.